Commander Xyloth pressed his three-fingered hand against the viewing screen. His purple eyes grew wide with excitement. After traveling through space for 200 cycles, his crew had finally found it. Earth. The small blue planet that everyone in the Galactic Council called the Cute World. "Look at it," Xyloth said to his second officer, Krina. "So small, so harmless, just like the report said." Krina moved her antenna in agreement. She had read all the files about Earth. The Galactic Council had been watching this planet for 50 years. Every alien species in the known galaxy thought the same thing about humans. They were adorable, weak, harmless creatures who lived on a pretty little world. "Sir, I'm picking up their broadcasts," said Officer Thax from the communications deck. "They call themselves humans. They seem to spend most of their time making something called videos and memes about small, furry animals." The entire bridge crew burst into laughter. Xyloth shook his head with amusement. These humans were even more innocent than he thought. "Show me their military strength," Xyloth commanded. Thax pulled up the data on the main screen. The numbers appeared, and everyone laughed even harder. "Sir, according to our scans, their most powerful weapons can barely break through level 2 shielding. Our ships have level 10 shields. Their fastest spacecraft can't even leave their own solar system properly. And look at this. Their soldiers still use projectile weapons that shoot small metal pieces." Xyloth couldn't believe it. The Krellian Empire used plasma weapons that could melt through mountains. The Vortax Horde had genetic warriors who could survive in the vacuum of space. And these humans, they shot tiny bullets and hoped for the best. "This will be the easiest conquest in history," Xyloth announced. The Galactic Council was right. This planet is defenseless. We'll claim Earth, take its resources, and be home in time for the Festival of 3 Moons. His crew cheered. Finally an easy mission. For years, they had fought brutal wars against other alien races. They had lost friends in terrible battles. But Earth, this would be like taking candy from a baby. Whatever candy was. Xyloth looked at the beautiful blue planet spinning peacefully in space. "Prepare the invasion fleet. Send the message to High Command. Tell them we've found paradise and it's unguarded. In 3 days, Earth will belong to the Krellian Empire." What Xyloth didn't know was that every word he said was being heard. Deep below the surface of Earth, in a bunker buried under miles of rock and concrete, a young woman sat at her computer screen. Her name was Captain Sarah Chen, and she worked for a division of the military that didn't officially exist. "Sir, you need to hear this," Sarah said into her headset. General Marcus Stone walked into the monitoring room. He was a tall man with gray hair and scars that told stories of battles most people would never know about. He had been a soldier for 35 years, and he had been waiting for this day since he was a young lieutenant. "Let me hear it," Stone said. Sarah played the recording of the alien transmission. As the general listened to the aliens laughing at humanity, his face remained calm. Too calm, Sarah knew that look. It was the look of a man who was about to make someone regret their choices. "They think we're cute," General Stone said quietly. "They think we're weak." "Yes, sir," Sarah replied. "They have no idea about the barrier protocol." General Stone walked to the window that looked out over the command center. Hundreds of people worked at computer stations below. These weren't regular soldiers. These were the ones who knew the truth. The real truth about why Earth had survived this long in a galaxy full of hostile aliens. "How long until they reach our borders?" Stone asked. 72 hours, sir." "Good. That gives us time to prepare the welcome party." General Stone turned to Sarah. "Activate Protocol Crimson. Contact all border stations. Tell them it's time to show the galaxy why nobody crosses the red line." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. She had only been with this division for 2 years, but she had heard the stories. Old soldiers whispered about what happened the last time aliens tried to invade. That was 30 years ago, and the galaxy still told horror stories about it. "Sir, are you sure? Protocol Crimson means—" "I know what it means, Captain," Stone interrupted. His voice was hard as steel. "Those aliens up there think we're harmless. They think Earth is easy prey. They're about to learn a lesson that the galaxy should have already taught them." "What lesson, sir?" General Stone looked up at the ceiling as if he could see through all the rock and concrete, all the way up to space where the alien ship waited. That humans don't guard their borders with walls or shields or fancy technology, Stone said. We guard them with something much more terrifying. We guard them with our willingness to die and our creativity in making sure we take everyone with us. Sarah swallowed hard. I'll send the activation codes. As she typed on her keyboard, alarms began to sound across the facility. Red lights flashed in every hallway. All around the world, in secret bases hidden in mountains, under oceans, and in frozen wastelands, soldiers received the same message. The message was simple. They're coming. Show them why Earth still stands. Back in space, Commander Xyloth smiled at his viewing screen. The planet looked so peaceful, so defenseless. In 3 days, it would all be over. He would be celebrated as the commander who conquered the cute little world. But if Xyloth had better senses, if he had looked closer, he would have seen something strange. All around Earth, in orbit and on the moon, things were waking up. Defense systems that had been sleeping for decades were coming online. Weapons that broke every galactic treaty were being loaded. And deep in the darkness of space, moving between asteroids and debris, hunter-killer satellites began to move into position. The aliens thought they were predators coming to catch easy prey. They were wrong. They weren't predators at all. They were about to learn that Earth wasn't the cute, defenseless world everyone thought it was. Earth was the quiet kid in the Galactic classroom, the one who smiled politely while everyone made fun of them, the one who never started fights. But when someone finally pushed too far, when someone made the terrible mistake of crossing the line, that's when the quiet kid reminded everyone why they stayed quiet. Not because they were weak, but because they knew exactly what they were capable of, and they were trying to be kind. Xyloth's 3 days of travel to Earth's borders had begun. He had no idea that he was counting down to the worst mistake of his life. Commander Xyloth stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Death's Whisper. Behind him, 50 warships followed in perfect formation. This was the pride of the Krellian Empire's fleet, ships that had conquered 12 worlds, ships that had never known defeat. Sir, we're approaching Earth's orbital space, Krina announced. Shall I broadcast our demands? Xyloth nodded. Yes, tell them to surrender their planet. Tell them resistance is futile. Make sure to sound menacing. Krina activated the communication system. Her voice boomed across all Earth frequencies. Humans of Earth, this is Commander Xyloth of the Krellian Empire. Your planet now belongs to us. Surrender immediately, and we will allow most of you to live as servants. Resist, and we will turn your cute little world into dust. You have 1 hour to respond. The bridge crew laughed again. One officer was literally holding his sides. Did you hear how I said cute little world? I bet they're crying right now. But then something happened that made the laughter stop. A response came back. Not panicked, not scared, just calm. Eerily calm. Hello, Commander Xyloth. This is General Marcus Stone of Earth Defense Command. Thank you for the warning. However, I'm afraid I must decline your generous offer. You see, you've made a critical error. You've crossed into our borders without permission. Turn your ships around now, and we'll let you leave. This is your only warning. Silence filled the bridge. Then slowly the laughter started again. But this time it was different, meaner, more mocking. Did he just threaten us? Xyloth couldn't believe it. Thax scanned their military capabilities again. Maybe we missed something. Thax ran another scan. No, sir. Nothing has changed. They have primitive weapons, slow ships, and weak defenses. They're bluffing. Xyloth leaned forward in his command chair. General Stone, I admire your courage, but you're like a mouse threatening a lion. I'll give you one more chance. Surrender now or face extinction. There was a pause. Then General Stone's voice came back, and this time there was something in his tone. Something that made even Xyloth feel a tiny bit of unease. Commander, let me tell you a story. 30 years ago, another species said the same thing you just did. They were called the Zarnothi. Have you heard of them? Xyloth searched his memory. No, I don't know any species by that name. Exactly, General Stone replied. No one does, because they don't exist anymore. They crossed our red line, just like you're about to do. Commander Xyloth, you're about to learn something that the galaxy has tried very hard to forget. You're about to learn why Earth is called the cute world. It's not because we're weak. It's because it's the only way the galaxy can sleep at night. It's easier to call us cute than to remember what we really are. And what are you really? Xyloth asked, his voice dripping with sarcasm. We're survivors, Commander, and there's nothing more dangerous in this universe than something that refuses to die. Xyloth had heard enough. Open fire! Destroy their satellites. Show them what happens when mice roar at lions. The weapons officer pressed the firing button. 50 ships unleashed their weapons at the same time. Plasma beams and missiles streaked toward Earth's orbit. The attack was beautiful and terrible. It should have destroyed everything in its path. But something impossible happened. The attacks never reached Earth. Every single shot, every missile, every beam of plasma hit something. Invisible barriers appeared in space, glowing red for just a moment before disappearing. The attacks exploded harmlessly against them. What was that? Xyloth stammered. Sir, I'm detecting impossible readings, Thax said, his voice shaking. The space around Earth is filled with some kind of invisible mines. Thousands of them. No, millions of them. They're everywhere. How did we not see them? Because you weren't looking, came General Stone's voice. You assumed we were primitive. You assumed our technology was weak. You forgot the first rule of war, Commander. Never underestimate an enemy based on what they choose to show you. Suddenly, all around the Krellian fleet, space began to light up. Millions of small lights appeared, like stars turning on all at once. They surrounded the alien ships completely. There was no escape route. Sir, those aren't just mines, Krina whispered. Scanners show there are also missiles, railguns, plasma cannons, and... oh gods, are those nuclear weapons? Nuclear. Xyloth laughed nervously. Those are ancient, primitive. Our shields can... Commander, Thax interrupted. These aren't normal nuclear weapons. The radiation signature is wrong. It's modified somehow. Enhanced. Sir, I think these are nuclear weapons powered by something we've never seen before. General Stone's voice filled their bridge again. Let me educate you, Commander. Yes, we use primitive nuclear weapons, but humans have a special talent. We take old things and make them terrifying. Those nuclear weapons you're looking at, we've had 70 years to improve them. They're wrapped in antimatter containers. Each one has the power to destroy a small moon, and you're surrounded by 10,000 of them. Xyloth felt his blood turn cold. You're bluffing. You wouldn't detonate those. The radiation would reach your own planet. Would it, though? Another voice joined the conversation. This one belonged to a woman. Hi, Commander. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen. I helped design those weapons. Want to know the fun part? They're directional. All that destructive power goes outward, away from Earth, toward anything we consider a threat. Like, I don't know, an invasion fleet that ignored our warning. One of Xyloth's officers stood up from his station. So we need to retreat. This isn't what we expected. We need to sit down, Xyloth roared. We're not running from humans. We're the Krellian Empire. We don't flee from... He never finished his sentence, because that's when the darkness came. At first, Xyloth thought something was wrong with the ship's lights. The viewing screen went dark, but then he realized the truth. Something was passing between the Krellian fleet and Earth, something enormous. Something that blocked out the stars themselves. What? What is that? Xyloth whispered. The thing moved closer. It was a ship, but unlike any ship Xyloth had ever seen. It wasn't sleek or beautiful like Krellian ships. It wasn't efficient like Vortax warships. It was brutal, ugly, covered in weapons that looked like they had been bolted on as afterthoughts. The entire ship was dark gray, almost black, with red markings that looked like warnings. On the side of the ship, written in letters that seemed to glow with menace, were the words, HSS Deterrence, you were warned, sir. Thax's voice was barely a whisper. That ship, it's not appearing on any scanners. It's like it doesn't exist. But it's right there. We can see it. Stealth technology, Krina said. But that's impossible. True invisibility requires power sources that we don't even have theories for. General Stone spoke again. Commander Xyloth, you're looking at the HSS Deterrence. She's our border guard. She's been following you since you entered our solar system 3 days ago. You never saw her because you weren't meant to. That's her job. To watch, to wait. And when necessary, to make sure threats never leave our borders. One ship? Xyloth tried to sound confident. You think one ship can stop our entire fleet? One ship? General Stone laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was the laugh of someone who knew a terrible secret. Commander, look closer, Xyloth did. And that's when he saw them. Behind the deterrence, space itself seemed to ripple. More ships appeared. Dozens of them. Then hundreds, all the same dark grey color, all covered in weapons, all positioned perfectly to catch the Krellian fleet in a crossfire that would leave no survivors. How many? Xyloth asked weakly. Enough, General Stone replied. Commander Xyloth, you have 5 minutes to turn your fleet around and leave our solar system. If you're still here in 5 minutes and 1 second, we will do what humans do best. And what's that? Xyloth asked, though he was afraid he already knew the answer. We'll fight. And Commander, humans don't fight to win battles. We don't fight for glory or honor. We fight to make absolutely certain that anyone who threatens our home never gets the chance to threaten anyone else. Ever again. We fight to extinction. Ours or yours? Usually both. The timer appeared on Xyloth's screen. 5 minutes. The numbers began counting down. 4 minutes and 59 seconds. 4 minutes and 58 seconds. Commander Xyloth looked at his crew. He saw fear in their eyes, real fear. Not the fear of losing a battle. The fear of facing something they didn't understand. Something that broke all the rules of how warfare was supposed to work. Sir, Krina whispered. What do we do? Xyloth watched the timer count down. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. He thought about his family back home. He thought about how he wanted to see them again. He thought about how he had laughed at Earth just 3 days ago. Now Earth wasn't laughing. Earth wasn't cute. Earth was a predator that had been patiently waiting for its prey to step into the trap, and Xyloth had walked right in. 3 minutes remained on the timer. Commander Xyloth's hand hovered over the retreat button, but his pride held him back. He was a decorated warrior of the Krellian Empire. He had destroyed entire cities. How could he retreat from primitive humans? Sir, please, Krina begged. Something is wrong here. This isn't what the intelligence report said. We need to silence. Xyloth slammed his fist on the armrest. I will not be intimidated by monkeys who learn to use tools. Weapons officer, target that big ship, the deterrence. Full power. Let's see if their stealth technology can hide them from a direct hit. The weapons officer hesitated. Sir, I don't think that's an order. The officer pressed the firing controls. The flagship's main cannon charged with a sound like thunder. Every eye on the bridge watched as a beam of pure plasma energy shot toward the deterrence. It was the most powerful weapon in the Krellian arsenal, a weapon that could punch through the shields of any known spacecraft. The beam hit the deterrence directly, and nothing happened. The human ship didn't explode, didn't shake, didn't even seem to notice. The plasma simply splashed against its hull like water hitting a rock. Red lights flickered where the beam had struck, some kind of energy shield absorbing everything. Impossible, whispered Thax. The energy readings. That shield is operating at levels we can't even measure. The power source alone would need to be the size of a small star. General Stone's voice came through the speakers, and now there was no friendliness in it. No patience, just cold, hard steel. You just fired on us, Commander. That's a declaration of war. The timer is cancelled. You had your chance to leave. You chose violence. Now you get to see what humans do to those who threaten our home. 2 minutes and 15 seconds had been left on the timer. Now it disappeared, replaced by new words that made Xyloth's blood run cold. Protocol Crimson activated. All around the alien fleet, the human ships began to move. They didn't move like normal ships. There was no elegance, no formation flying. They moved like sharks circling prey, aggressive, purposeful, hungry. Sir, they're powering weapons, Krina shouted. I'm reading energy signatures off the charts. Every ship is the first human ship fired, but it wasn't a neat beam or a clean missile. It was something else. Something that looked like a physical projectile, but moved faster than anything Xyloth had ever seen. It was just a piece of metal, he realized. A giant piece of metal accelerated to a speed that should have been impossible. The projectile hit one of the Krellian destroyers. The impact was instant and total. The destroyer simply ceased to exist. It didn't explode, didn't break apart. It was there one moment and gone the next, turned into a cloud of atoms by the sheer kinetic energy of the impact. Evasive maneuvers. Xyloth screamed, but there was nowhere to go. The human ships had them boxed in completely, and now more of those projectiles were firing. Railguns, the humans called them. Simple technology, old technology. Just pieces of metal shot really, really fast, but when really fast meant a significant fraction of light speed, simple became devastating. 5 more Krellian ships disappeared, then 10. The aliens tried to return fire, but their plasma beams couldn't penetrate the human shields. Meanwhile, the railgun projectiles went through Krellian shields like they weren't even there. They knew, Thack said quietly. They knew exactly what kind of shields we use. They designed their weapons specifically to counter us. A new voice came over the communications. It belonged to Captain Sarah Chen, speaking from the deterrence. Commander Xyloth, let me explain something about humans. We're a paranoid species. We've spent 70 years preparing for this moment. We've studied every alien species we've detected. We know your technology. We know your tactics. We know your weaknesses. And we've built our entire military around exploiting those weaknesses. Your shields stop energy weapons? Great, we use kinetic weapons. Your armor is designed for high heat resistance? Wonderful. We hit you with weapons that generate no heat at all, just pure impact force. Another wave of railgun fire. 20 Krellian ships gone in seconds. Retreat! Xyloth finally screamed. All ships retreat. Get us out of here! The fleet tried to turn around, but the human ships moved to block them. Not attacking now, just waiting. Like they wanted the Krellians to see something. Commander, General Stone spoke again. You can't leave, not yet. You see, we have a policy. Anyone who crosses our red line with hostile intent doesn't get to leave and tell others about our defenses. That would defeat the purpose of being underestimated. What? What are you saying? Xyloth felt true terror now. I'm saying that if you had retreated when we gave you the chance, you could have left. You would have been humiliated but alive. But you fired on us. You declared war. And now you have to face the consequences. Now you have to learn the lesson. New contacts appeared on the scanners, coming from deeper in Earth's solar system. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. What are those? Krina asked. Dr. Chen answered. Those are drones, Commander. Autonomous attack drones. Each one carries enough explosive power to cripple a warship. Each one is controlled by an AI that's been trained on 10,000 simulated space battles. Each one knows exactly how to kill you, and we just launched 50,000 of them. The drones swarmed forward like a cloud of locusts. They moved in patterns that made no sense, constantly shifting, impossible to target. The Krellian point defense systems tried to shoot them down, but for every drone they destroyed, 10 more got through. The drones didn't even use conventional explosives. They were kinetic kill vehicles. They simply rammed into the alien ships at tremendous speed, punching holes through hulls, destroying engines, crippling weapon systems. This is insane, Xyloth screamed. You're breaking every galactic law. These weapons are banned. Kinetic bombardment is forbidden. AI-controlled weapons are forbidden by who? General Stone interrupted. The Galactic Council. Commander, Earth isn't part of the Galactic Council. We never signed their treaties. We never agreed to their rules. Do you know why? Because 50 years ago, when the Council first contacted us, do you know what they said? Xyloth didn't answer. His fleet was being torn apart around him. General Stone continued. They said we were too primitive to join. They said we were cute. They said we could be part of the Council in a few hundred years once we became civilized. Once we gave up our savage ways. They looked at humanity and saw victims. Easy prey, and then they ignored us. They thought we didn't matter. The deterrence moved closer to Xyloth's flagship, its weapons charged with a sound that could be heard even through the vacuum of space, carried by the vibrations in the ship's hull. So we made a decision, General Stone said. If the galaxy was going to treat us like we didn't exist, we'd use that. We'd let them think we were weak. We'd let them think we were harmless. And we'd build defenses that would make any species regret trying to take advantage of that perception. We've spent 50 years preparing for bullies like you. Half of Xyloth's fleet was gone now. The survivors were desperately trying to fight back. But it was hopeless. For every human drone they destroyed, their sensors showed more launching from hidden facilities on Earth's moon, on Mars, on asteroids throughout the solar system. How many? Xyloth whispered. How many weapons do you have? Enough, Captain Chen replied. Commander, humanity learned a lesson in our ancient history. We learned it in a war we call World War II. Do you know what that lesson was? Xyloth shook his head. The lesson was this. It doesn't matter how advanced your technology is. It doesn't matter how superior your weapons are. What matters is how many weapons you can make and how willing you are to use them. The side that wins isn't always the side with the best equipment. It's the side that refuses to stop fighting. The drones were everywhere now. The Krellian fleet was scattered, broken, dying. Ships tried to flee in every direction, but the human vessels blocked all escape routes. During World War II, our nation built the most advanced tanks, the best aircraft, the most sophisticated weapons, Dr. Chen continued, and they lost. Do you know why? Because their enemy built 10 times as many weapons. Their enemy didn't care about making perfect weapons. They cared about making enough weapons, about overwhelming the battlefield with sheer numbers. Xyloth finally understood. You're not advanced. You're just persistent, General Stone offered. Stubborn, willing to turn our entire industrial capacity toward war production. Yes, Commander, every asteroid mining station in this solar system can be converted to a weapons factory in under 6 hours. Every civilian ship can be armed with military-grade weapons in under 3 hours. Every human colonist on every moon and planet in this system is also a trained soldier. We're not advanced. We're prepared. Only 20 Krellian ships remained now, including Xyloth's flagship. They were surrounded by thousands of human drones, hundreds of warships, and millions of those invisible mines and weapons platforms. I surrender, Xyloth said quietly. Please, we surrender. Let my crew live. They were just following orders, please. There was a long pause. Then General Stone spoke, and his voice was sad, regretful, but firm. Commander Xyloth, I wish I could accept your surrender. I truly do. But you see, we have a problem. If we let you live, if we let you go home, you'll tell the galaxy about our defenses. You'll tell them what we're really capable of. And then the galaxy will take us seriously. They'll see us as a threat. They'll unite against us. They'll come at us with everything they have. I won't tell anyone. I swear we'll say we never found Earth. And if we believed that, we'd be fools, General Stone said. No, Commander. We need to stay invisible. We need to stay underestimated. We need the galaxy to keep thinking we're cute and harmless, because that's what keeps us safe. It's not our weapons that protect us. It's the galaxy's ignorance. The human ships began to charge their weapons again, all of them, pointed at the surviving Krellian vessels. But, General Stone continued, we're not monsters. We'll make it quick. Your crews won't suffer. And Commander, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. I'm sorry your leaders sent you here. I'm sorry you thought we were weak. And I'm sorry about what comes next. Wait, Xyloth screamed. Please! There has to be, but the universe doesn't care about please or mercy or second chances. The universe only cares about actions and consequences. The Krellian Empire had taken an action. They had crossed humanity's red line. Now came the consequence. The weapons fired simultaneously. For 3 seconds, the space around Earth lit up brighter than the sun. When the light faded, there was nothing left of the Krellian invasion fleet. Nothing but debris and radiation. In the bunker, deep beneath Earth, General Marcus Stone closed his eyes. He had just ordered the deaths of thousands of beings. It didn't matter that they were aliens. It didn't matter that they had come to conquer Earth. They were still living creatures with families, with hopes, with futures. And now they were gone. Sir, Captain Sarah Chen said softly. It was necessary. They would have— I know, Captain, Stone interrupted. Necessary doesn't make it easy. Necessary doesn't help me sleep at night. He opened his eyes and looked at the data on his screens. Begin Operation Echo. We need to make sure no one else makes the same mistake. Sarah nodded. Operation Echo, the part of Protocol Crimson that she hated most. The part that made her question whether humanity were the good guys in this story. Across the solar system, human ships began to move toward the debris field that had once been the Krellian fleet. They weren't there to search for survivors. There were no survivors. They were there to collect something else. Evidence. On the bridge of the deterrence, Captain James Wu supervised the collection. His ship's drones carefully gathered pieces of Krellian technology, fragments of their ships, pieces of their weapons. Most importantly, they recovered the ship's black boxes. The devices that recorded everything that happened before the fleet was destroyed. Sir, we've recovered 17 intact data cores, his technical officer reported. They contain complete records of the fleet's mission, including all communications with Earth Defense Command. Good, Captain Wu said. Upload them to the Intelligence Division. They'll need those records for the next phase. Back on Earth, in a different bunker, a team of humans sat around a conference table. They were not soldiers. They were writers, directors, special effects artists. Communications experts, the people who made movies and television shows, the people who knew how to tell stories. General Stone's face appeared on their screen. Ladies and gentlemen, you know why you're here. We need you to craft a message, a warning, something that will spread across the galaxy and make absolutely certain that what happened today never happens again. A woman named Dr. Patricia Alvarez stood up. She was a psychologist who specialized in alien behavior patterns. For 10 years, she had studied how different alien species thought, what scared them, what motivated them. We've studied the Galactic Council's communication patterns, Dr. Alvarez began. We know how they share information. We know what kind of stories spread quickly in their society, and we've designed a message specifically to exploit that. She pulled up an image on the screen. It showed a modified version of what had happened to the Krellian fleet. But this version was different, more theatrical, more terrifying. It showed the human ships as dark, menacing shadows. It showed the destruction in slow motion, emphasizing every detail. It showed the Krellians' last moments in a way that would haunt anyone who watched it. "This is propaganda," General Stone said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, sir," Dr. Alvarez replied. "Psychological warfare. We're going to make the galaxy afraid of us, not through direct threats, but through myth, through legend. We're going to turn Earth into the galaxy's boogeyman story." Another member of the team, a filmmaker named David Chen, stood up. "We've spent years studying human horror movies. We know what scares us, and we've adapted those principles to work on alien psychology. This message will be designed to trigger fear responses in 97% of known alien species." "Show me," Stone ordered. The lights in the room dimmed. A video began to play. It started with peaceful images of Earth, beautiful oceans, green forests, cities at night twinkling with lights. A voice narrated in multiple alien languages simultaneously. "This is Earth, homeworld of humanity. For 50 years, the Galactic Council has called this world cute. They called humans harmless. They believed we were primitive, weak, defenseless." The image changed. It showed the Krellian fleet approaching Earth. Commander Xyloth of the Krellian Empire believed these lies. He came to Earth with 50 warships. He came to conquer. He was warned. He was given a chance to retreat. He chose war. The video showed the moment Xyloth fired on the deterrents. Then it showed what happened next, the destruction of the fleet. But the video didn't just show it. It explained it in detail. It showed the railguns firing, the drones swarming, the systematic destruction of every single ship. "Humanity does not have the most advanced weapons in the galaxy," the voice continued. "Humanity has something more dangerous. Humanity has the capacity for total war, the willingness to turn every resource, every factory, every citizen into a weapon aimed at those who threaten their world." The video showed simulations of Earth's industrial capacity, how asteroid mines could become weapons factories, how civilian ships could be armed, how the entire solar system was essentially one giant military base disguised as a peaceful civilization. Humans do not fight for glory. They do not fight for conquest. They fight for survival. And when fighting for survival, humans do not know the meaning of surrender. They will use every weapon, break every rule, cross every line, because to them, losing is not an option. The video showed historical footage from Earth's own wars. World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Iraq, Syria. Wars where humans had fought humans with devastating ferocity. Wars where soldiers had held positions even when it meant certain death. Wars where civilians had continued fighting even after their cities were destroyed. This is a species that survived global pandemics, nuclear weapons, climate change, and countless wars with themselves, the voice said. They survived because they refused to quit, ever. The video showed the debris field where the Krellian fleet used to be. Commander Xyloth entered Earth's borders with 50 warships. He left with nothing, not because humanity destroyed his fleet, but because humanity erased it, removed it from existence, as a warning, as a message. The final image showed Earth from space, peaceful and blue, with one sentence in every known alien language. "Stay away." The video ended. The lights came back on. General Stone nodded slowly. "It's perfect. It's terrifying. It will make the galaxy afraid of us. But, sir, Dr. Alvarez said carefully, there's one more element we need to add. Fear alone won't be enough. Some species respect strength. Some will see this as a challenge. We need to add something else to the message. Something that makes them think twice, even if they're not afraid. What do you suggest? Stone asked. Dr. Alvarez pulled up another document. We need to make them understand that attacking Earth isn't just dangerous. It's pointless. We need to show them that even if they win, they lose. She displayed a new section of the video. This one showed Earth's defensive strategy in detail, but it was designed to make any potential attacker realize the truth. Conquering Earth was impossible. Humanity has placed weapons throughout the solar system, the narrator explained. On asteroids, on moons, hidden in orbital debris, buried under the surfaces of planets. These weapons are autonomous. They require no human control. If Earth falls, they will continue fighting forever. The video showed a simulation, an alien fleet successfully invading Earth, destroying all human resistance. But then the hidden weapons activated, weapons that had been waiting, patient, silent. They attacked the invasion fleet from every direction. The simulation showed that even in victory, the invaders would be destroyed, conquer Earth, and you inherit a solar system that will kill you. The voice said coldly. Every asteroid becomes a weapon. Every piece of debris becomes shrapnel. The entire system becomes a death trap that will destroy any occupation force. You cannot hold what you cannot survive. David Chen added another element. We've also included what we're calling the Dead Hand Protocol. It's based on an old Soviet system from the Cold War. The video showed this new element. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in bunkers that could survive anything, weapons waited. Nuclear weapons, antimatter weapons, weapons that humanity hoped they would never use, but weapons that would automatically activate if Earth was destroyed. If humanity falls, the narrator said, our final gift to the galaxy will be revenge. Automated ships will launch from hidden facilities. They will travel to the homeworlds of whoever destroyed us, and they will deliver the same destruction that was given to Earth. This is not a threat. This is a promise. Attack Earth, and your species dies with us. The room was silent. Even General Stone looked uncomfortable. That's extreme, he said quietly. That's the point, sir, Dr. Alvarez replied. We need them to understand that there is no scenario where attacking Earth ends well. Not even if they win. Mutually assured destruction. It worked to prevent nuclear war on Earth. It will work to prevent alien invasion. Captain Sarah Chen, who had been silent until now, spoke up. But sir, is this really who we want to be? The galaxy's terrorists, the species that threatens genocide. General Stone turned to look at her. His face was tired. So very tired. Captain, let me ask you something. Would you rather be feared and alive or respected and dead? Because those are our only choices. The galaxy saw us as weak, and look what happened. An invasion fleet showed up, ready to enslave or kill millions of humans. They came because they thought we couldn't fight back. He stood up and walked to the window overlooking the command center. I hate this, he continued. I hate that we have to be monsters to survive. But the galaxy is full of predators. We're not the strongest. We're not the most advanced. All we have is our willingness to fight dirty, to break rules, to do whatever it takes. If that makes us the bad guys, so be it. At least we'll be alive, Dr. Alvarez added quietly. Sir, there's one more thing. We don't actually have to use these weapons. We just have to make everyone think we would. The Dead Hand Protocol, half of it is a bluff. We don't have nearly as many hidden weapons as we claim. But they don't know that. The uncertainty is what protects us. Stone smiled grimly. The biggest lie humanity ever told was that we fight fair. We don't. We never have. Every war in human history was won by the side willing to do things the other side wouldn't. We're just extending that philosophy to the stars. Release the video, he ordered. Send it through every communication channel we've tapped into. Make sure it reaches the Galactic Council. Make sure every species in the galaxy sees what happened to the Krellian Empire. And make sure they all know one thing. Earth is not worth the cost. Over the next 3 days, the video spread across the galaxy like wildfire. It was designed to be shared, to be talked about, to become legend. On the Vortax homeworld, military commanders watched the video in stunned silence. They had been planning their own invasion of Earth. Those plans were immediately cancelled. On Zylonia Prime, the High Council watched and felt a chill run through their collective consciousness. They had thought humans were primitive. Now they realized the truth. Humans weren't primitive. They were patient. They had been watching, learning, preparing. In the halls of the Galactic Council, the video caused panic. Emergency sessions were called. Debates raged for days. Should they take action against Earth? Should they try to enforce galactic law? But in the end, they did nothing, because no one wanted to be the next Krellian Empire. No one wanted to be the next example in humanity's message. A new policy was quietly adopted. The Human Quarantine Zone. Earth's solar system was declared off-limits. No trade, no contact, no approach without explicit permission. The official reason was to allow the primitive human species to develop naturally. The real reason was simple: fear. In the weeks that followed, something interesting happened. The galaxy's perception of Earth changed. They stopped calling humans cute. They stopped calling Earth the harmless world. Instead, new names emerged. Names whispered in dark corners of alien bars. Names that carried weight and warning: the sleeping giants, the quiet ones. The species that doesn't start fights, but finishes them, and Earth's favorite, the ones you leave alone. Back in the command bunker, General Stone sat alone in his office. On his desk was a photograph of his grandson, a happy child, playing in a park, unaware of the darkness his grandfather dealt with every day. Captain Sarah Chen knocked and entered. "Sir, the video has reached 97% of known galactic networks. Intelligence reports that at least 47 species have revised their assessment of Earth from low threat to existential danger." "Good," Stone said. But he didn't sound happy about it. "Sir, can I ask you something?" Sarah said. "Do you think we did the right thing?" Stone was quiet for a long moment. "Captain, I've been a soldier for 35 years. I've made a lot of decisions, ordered a lot of actions, and I learned something important. There's usually no such thing as right decisions in war. There's only necessary decisions. And what we did was necessary. But was it moral?" Sarah pressed. "Probably not," Stone admitted. "We threatened an entire galaxy. We promised retaliation that would make us no better than those who attack us. We became the thing that scares children in the dark. But Sarah, my job isn't to be moral. My job is to make sure humanity survives. And sometimes survival requires us to become monsters." He picked up the photograph of his grandson. "But I do it so that this little boy never has to. So that he can grow up in a world where he doesn't have to make these choices. Where he doesn't have to order the deaths of thousands. Where he can just live peacefully, safely." Sarah understood. "You're the monster so humanity doesn't have to be." "Something like that," Stone said. "The galaxy wanted to see us as cute and harmless. We were neither, but we let them believe it because it was safer that way. Now they know the truth, and that truth will keep us safe for a long time." "How long?" Sarah asked. Stone smiled sadly. "Until they forget. Until a new generation of aliens hears the stories and thinks they're exaggerated. Until someone else decides to test humanity's borders. Might be 50 years. It might be 500. But it will happen again. Someone will always think they're the exception. That they're smarter or stronger or better prepared than the last ones. And when that happens, we'll do this all over again. We'll show them why the red line exists, why humanity guards its borders with death. And we'll hope that the lesson sticks a little longer next time." Sarah nodded and turned to leave. But Stone called her back. "Captain, one more thing. Make sure that video includes something else." "Something important. What's that, sir?" "An offer, hidden in the message. Let the galaxy know that while we will destroy anyone who threatens us, we will also welcome anyone who approaches peacefully. We're not conquerors. We're not interested in empire. We just want to be left alone. But if someone truly wants peace, truly wants friendship, we're willing to talk." Sarah smiled, adding a bit of hope to all that fear. "Balance," Stone corrected. "Fear keeps the predators away. Hope keeps the door open for those who might become friends. Humanity survived this long by knowing when to fight and when to talk. We need to make sure the galaxy knows we can do both." 20 years passed. The Krellian Empire never sent another fleet to Earth. In fact, the Krellian Empire barely existed anymore. When word reached their homeworld about what happened to Commander Xyloth's fleet, it sparked a civil war. Citizens questioned why their leaders had sent their children to die against humanity. The government collapsed within 5 years. The galaxy changed in other ways too. The video of Earth's defense became required viewing in military academies across 1,000 worlds. It was studied, analyzed, feared. Some species became more aggressive, seeing humanity as a threat that needed to be eliminated before they grew stronger. But these species never acted on their feelings, because every simulation, every war game, every strategic analysis came to the same conclusion: attacking Earth would be suicide. Other species became curious. If humans were this powerful, what else had the galaxy been wrong about? Some began to question the Galactic Council's authority. Some began to wonder what other primitive species might be hiding similar capabilities. And a very few, decided to approach Earth with peace instead of violence. The first was the Narration collective. They were a species of peaceful traders who had always been exploited by stronger civilizations. They sent a single small ship to the edge of Earth's solar system. The ship broadcast one simple message: "We come in peace. We wish to trade. We mean no harm." The ship waited. For 3 days it waited at the border, right where the red line began. No weapons, no threats, just patience. In the command bunker, now under the leadership of General Peter Kawasaki, General Stone had retired 5 years earlier, a debate raged. "It could be a trick," said the new intelligence director. "A scout ship preparing for a larger invasion." "They've been sitting there for 3 days, Captain Sarah Chen argued. She was a full colonel now. "If they wanted to scout us, they've had plenty of time. I think they're genuine." "We should destroy them," someone suggested. "Maintain the quarantine, keep everyone out, and prove that we're nothing but monsters?" Colonel Chen shot back. General Stone added that offer of peace to the message for a reason. "If we destroy every ship that approaches peacefully, we become the aggressors. We become what we've been fighting against." General Kawasaki listened to all sides. Finally, he made his decision. "Send them a message. Tell them they can enter, but they must follow our rules. 1 ship only. They will be escorted by armed vessels at all times. Any aggressive action will result in immediate destruction. If they agree, guide them to Meeting Station Alpha." The Larosians agreed immediately. Their small ship followed a human destroyer to a space station built specifically for this purpose. A neutral meeting ground, heavily armed, but designed for diplomacy rather than war. The first contact between humanity and a peaceful alien species took place on that station. It was awkward, tense. Both sides were nervous. But it was peaceful. The Larosians explained why they had come. "The galaxy fears you," their ambassador said through a translation device. "But we saw something in your message that others missed. You said you fight only when threatened. You said you would welcome peace. We want to believe that. Because we are tired of being victims. We thought maybe humans would understand." Colonel Chen, leading the human delegation, was surprised. "You're asking for protection?" "Yes," the Larosian admitted. "The Vortex Horde has been raiding our worlds for generations. We are not warriors. We are traders, artists, farmers. We have asked the Galactic Council for help many times. They do nothing. But you destroyed an entire fleet. Maybe if we allied with you, the Vortex would leave us alone." The negotiations took months. Earth's government debated fiercely. Some wanted to stay isolated. Others saw an opportunity. In the end, they reached a compromise. Earth would not provide military protection, but they would provide weapons, technology, training. They would teach the Lyrosians how to defend themselves. "We will not fight your battles," Colonel Chen explained, "but we will give you the tools to fight them yourself." Because the lesson Earth learned is this: the only person who can truly protect you is yourself. The Larosians accepted. They became Earth's first true alien allies. They were not subjects, not puppets, partners, trading partners, eventually friends, and something amazing happened. When the Vortex Horde heard that the Lyrosians had allied with Earth, they immediately stopped raiding Lyrosian worlds. The fear of humanity was that powerful. This caught the attention of other species, other victims of galactic bullies. Within 10 years, Earth had formal trade and defense agreements with 27 different species. None were military alliances. Earth still refused to fight other people's wars, but the mere association with humanity was enough to deter most aggressors. Earth became known as the protector of the weak, not through military conquest, but through strategic deterrence. The galaxy's bullies learned to leave Earth's friends alone, because no one wanted to find out if humanity would actually intervene. Meanwhile, on Earth, life continued peacefully. Most people didn't even know about the Krellian invasion. The governments of Earth had kept it classified. Why worry billions of people about a threat that had been eliminated? But in military families, the story was passed down. Children of soldiers heard about the day aliens came to conquer Earth and learned why they should never underestimate humanity. In a small house in Colorado, former General Marcus Stone sat on his porch. He was 75 years old now. His grandson David, now 22, sat next to him. "Grandpa, is it true?" David asked. "Did aliens really try to invade Earth when I was a kid?" Stone smiled. The story had finally leaked to the public, though most people thought it was exaggerated. A myth, an urban legend. "Yes, David, it's true. And you ordered them all killed?" Stone's smile faded. "I did. Do you regret it?" Stone thought about this carefully. "Every day, I think about the families of those alien soldiers, the children who lost parents, the parents who lost children. I think about whether there could have been another way. But," David sensed there was more. "But I also think about you," Stone said, putting his hand on his grandson's shoulder. "You grew up safe. You grew up in a world where you could go to school, fall in love, make mistakes, without worrying about alien invasions. That was worth it. You were worth it." David was quiet for a moment. "They say at university that Earth is the galaxy's boogeyman now. That alien parents tell their kids stories about humans to scare them into behaving." Stone laughed. "Is that what they say?" "Yeah. They say be good or the humans will get you." "Is that what you wanted? To be monsters in alien bedtime stories?" "No," Stone said honestly. "What I wanted was for humanity to survive, to be safe. If being the monster in someone else's story accomplishes that, then so be it. Better to be feared and alive than loved and extinct." "But we're not just feared anymore," David pointed out. "The Lyrosians love us. So do the Thendorians and the Quicks. We have friends now." "Because we proved we could be monsters first," Stone explained. "David, here's the truth about the galaxy. Respect is earned through strength. The galaxy ignored us when they thought we were weak. They only listened when they saw we could fight back. Our friends aren't our friends because we're nice. They're our friends because they know we're dangerous, and they trust that we'll use that danger to protect them, not harm them." David absorbed this. "So the key to peace is being ready for war?" "It's more complicated than that," Stone said. "The key to peace is being so prepared for war that no one dares to start one. It's about making war so costly, so devastating, so mutually destructive that everyone chooses talking instead. That's what we did. We didn't start a war. We ended one before it could truly begin. A shooting star streaked across the sky. Or maybe it wasn't a shooting star. Maybe it was one of the thousands of human satellites now orbiting Earth. Satellites that watched, that waited, that would defend humanity if the need ever arose again. Do you think it will happen again?" David asked. "Another invasion attempt?" "Eventually," Stone said. "History teaches us that peace is temporary. There will always be someone who thinks they're strong enough, smart enough, lucky enough to be the exception. Someone will test our borders again someday. And what will happen when they do?" Stone's expression hardened, showing a glimpse of the general he used to be. "The same thing that happened to the Krellian Empire. We will remind them why the Red Line exists, why humanity guards its borders with death, and hopefully, the lesson will last a little longer next time." They sat in silence, watching the stars. Somewhere up there, millions of light years away, alien civilizations went about their lives. Some feared Earth, some respected Earth, some wanted to be Earth's friend, some wanted to be Earth's enemy, but all of them, every single one, had learned the same lesson. Earth was not cute. Earth was not harmless. Earth was not easy prey. Earth was humanity's home. And humanity had proven beyond any doubt that they would do absolutely anything to protect it. 30 years after the Krellian invasion, the galaxy had settled into a new normal. Earth and its solar system remained largely isolated, but not completely. Trade happened. Cultural exchanges occurred. Humanity slowly, carefully, began to take its place in the larger galactic community, but everyone knew the rules. Everyone respected the red line, and everyone remembered what happened to those who didn't. In the galactic communication networks, in the dark corners of 1,000 worlds, the story of the Krellian Empire's destruction was still told. It had become legend. Some versions were accurate, others were exaggerated, but all versions ended the same way, with a warning. Never cross the red line, never threaten Earth, because humans don't fight to win. They fight to make sure you lose, and in the end, that's far more terrifying. On Earth, former General Marcus Stone passed away peacefully in his sleep at the age of 82. At his funeral, representatives from 27 alien species attended. They came to pay respects to the man who had taught the galaxy that humanity was not to be underestimated. But they also came to send a message to Earth. We remember. We will always remember. The red line will never be crossed again. Colonel Sarah Chen, now a general herself, stood at Stone's grave after the ceremony. She was the guardian now, the one who would make the hard decisions, the one who would protect humanity from threats they couldn't see coming. "I'll keep them safe, sir," she whispered to the gravestone, "just like you did. Whatever it takes." The sun set on Earth and the stars came out. Somewhere in those stars, potential threats plotted. Somewhere in those stars, friends looked toward Earth with respect. And somewhere in those stars, new civilizations were just discovering that they weren't alone in the universe. All of them would eventually learn about Earth, about humanity, about the species that looked cute and harmless until you made the mistake of threatening them, and all of them would learn the most important lesson. Some borders are guarded with walls, some with shields, some with diplomacy. But Earth's borders were guarded with something far more powerful, the absolute certainty that crossing them meant death. Not just your death, not just your fleet's death, but a death so complete, so total, so overwhelming that others would speak of it for generations as a warning. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not peace, not friendship, not advanced technology, but certainty. The absolute certainty that leaving Earth alone was the smartest decision any species could make. And in a galaxy full of predators, that certainty was the only thing that kept the prey safe. The cute little blue planet continued spinning peacefully in space, and the galaxy continued watching it from a safe distance, because Earth had taught them all a lesson that they would never, ever forget. Underestimate humanity at your own risk. The quiet ones are quiet for a reason, and that reason is they know exactly what they're capable of when pushed too far. The Krellian Empire learned this lesson. They paid for it with their existence, and the galaxy made sure no one else would ever forget. The red line remained uncrouched, Earth remained safe, and humanity continued living their lives, most of them never knowing how close they had come to annihilation, or how fiercely they had been protected. That was the way it should be, General Stone had always said. The sheep should never have to know about the wolves at the door, or about the sheepdogs who stood guard, ready to become wolves themselves to protect the flock. Earth was safe. For now, for always, as long as the red line stood, as long as the guardians watched, as long as humanity remembered that peace is not given, it is earned, through strength, through vigilance, through the willingness to do whatever it takes. The galaxy had laughed at humanity's cute world. They would never laugh again. The joke was on them, and the punchline was written in the debris of the Krellian fleet, floating forever in space as a monument to the price of underestimating Earth. The end. The universe is vast and full of wonders, but in one small corner, on one small blue planet, lived a species that proved something important. Size doesn't matter. Technology doesn't matter. What matters is will. The will to survive. The will to protect. The will to say no further, and mean it with every fiber of your being. That was humanity. That is humanity. That will always be humanity, and the galaxy learned to respect that.